What's going on there, folks? Good afternoon. It is your Earthmaster here on the live stream. It is, about 11:49 a.m. California time here on Tuesday, July 19th, 2022. A 2.0 earthquake looks to be the latest quake here out in the beautiful state of Oklahoma. Got some interesting development popping off here this morning across the, of course, social media picking up on this quite a bit. At the Hoover Dam, they had some type of explosion there this morning. It did get put out before the fire department arrived. This dam here is basically a power generator running off the Lake Mead area. Water level, of course, is super low for this region, so I have a feeling that could have something to do with that. But either way, this hydroelectric plant basically serves 1.3 million people, and of course it's a major popular tourist destination. I've been there quite a few times myself. It's kind of cool, but it's out there in the desert, not a whole lot to see. So it looks like they do have everything under control. They're not 100% certain exactly what caused it. Maybe a transformer. That's the only thing I can think of. Some type of short circuit or malfunction happened there. So it's not specifically at the dam itself, but at one of these hydrothermal things, these little plants here. Let's see what these guys are saying. It looks like the fire was extinguished when crews arrived. Not a whole lot of info on it right now, but we'll keep you guys updated. Either way, some videos and photos coming out there from the Hoover Dam area. And it is at the dam, but I think this little fire here is not in an area where we would expect any type of major catastrophe to happen. But who knows? I mean, definitely don't want to see the power grid go down in that area, because it does supply quite a few folks there in the Southern California region, I believe. Not 100% certain where their electricity goes to, but little fire down there. We'll find out a little bit more information as the day unfolds. I'm sure, like I said, it's probably some type of short circuit amongst the wires or amongst the machinery. Who knows? Either way, what do we got out here on the Big Island? Some activity ramping up here in Hawaii today once again, right around the Kilauea volcano, the crater area, 2.4 within the last hour. Some movement also taking place out in the Loihi Seamount region. This area has seen quite a bit of activity with some magma movement increasing in this area. No new updates yet in regards to that activity. Looking at the hazard notification system here for the Hawaii region. Let's go ahead and bring this up here. This was from yesterday. Looks like HVO has revised the format of earthquakes informational statements. Okay, here they talk about the activity, swarm of movement with some microquakes happening at the Loihi Seamount, and pulses of seismic energy every 15 to 20 seconds. Basically, that is result of magma movement beneath the seamount, Loihi Seamount, but it currently shows no signs of leading to an eruption. So, no further development on that. But still getting a few earthquakes out there around the Big Island. Looking at earthquake activity throughout the region here. Seen a couple increases in movement around the Aleutian Trench, the West Coast, and the South America region. You guys see what's going on here once again? That teeter-totter effect. Things are coming back around the bend, so to speak. It's very quiet here around the Western Pacific. We're getting that back building of pressure once again here along the South America, up through the states here and into the Aleutian Trench, where we're seeing quite a few earthquakes along this region, mostly threes. I don't think we had anything above that in the area. West Coast region seeing some movement basically from Washington southward. One earthquake here in the Cascadia subduction zone is just to the west of the subduction zone itself. Here on the map it's marked as that darker red line. And of course, it extends from Northern California here, about the Mendocino fault zone, up north to the Vancouver Island ranges. But we did see a 2.5, a very shallow earthquake. Look at that, very surface earthquake there, 0.2. That can't be good. Definitely thinking there's quite a bit of strain here on that area of the Cascadia. One earthquake looks like outside of the Burney area, north of Mount Lassen by about 10 miles. So I don't believe that's associated with the volcano there. And some movement up into the Washington region outside of Seattle. Mostly microquakes, a couple of those deep though, 24 kilometers for at least a couple of them. So activity kind of heightened out here along this area of the states. I want to bring up the tremor map from yesterday. We had about 258 epicenters of tremor, mostly up into the Vancouver Island ranges there. Remember, this is down dip into the subduction zone, and some activity here in the southern end of the Cascadia. I believe that's leading to some of the surface quaking that we're seeing out here this morning with that very shallow earthquake. And that's just obvious sign of some major stress built up here and continuing to build up along the Cascadia. 322 years of built up pressure. The question is, how much more is it going to take to trigger the big one? Looking at the rest of California, some activity out here along the border near Tom's Place at 3.1. That one kicking off earlier this morning as well. Movement throughout the Ridgecrest area and also down into Southern California. Watching for some swarming. If this kicks up again down here, might be something to watch. Right now, it's just a little scattered activity up and down the board. Not a whole lot of renewed movement here in the Salton Sea area. The Brawley seismic zone looks pretty quiet. The southern part of the San Andreas Fault does as well. So quiet for now is the key word. Some movement over here around the Cedar, Utah area. This area does see quite a bit of swarming. Been watching that for quite a few months now. Today, 11 earthquakes. Very shallow. So whatever's going on here is right in the mountains and at a very surface level. Mostly, like I said, mostly microquakes up to the 2.0, 2.1 range. But something to watch pretty closely with that ongoing movement there. Oklahoma, some activity. And let's see, let's go up here to Yellowstone real quick. Looks like outside of Yellowstone, a couple small microquakes kicking off here. And let me pull up the Yellowstone seismograph here and see what we got for recorded data. I can already see it. Looks like these little earthquakes right here. Some very small ones. This movement here is from last night. I believe it's some type of wind event that was going on all across the park. It was being picked up all over. Earthquake activity or magma movement does not look like that, folks. It doesn't matter if you pull up 100 different spectrograms. The frequency there is not consistent with the with magma movement. Wind, yes. Look at this. Just some loss of data there. These are digital seismograph stations, so sometimes they do come across errors. But as far as earthquake activity goes, not a whole lot. And they were noted on the USGS map there for the region. Go back over here to the USGS earthquake map here, and there's the activity in Oklahoma. Not a whole lot going on. We did have some further movement into the South Carolina region once again. Looks like just earlier a 2.2 and a 2.1 kicking off there around the Elgin, South Carolina area. Nothing really going on out here in the Atlantic. I find that kind of surprising, but it's not going to stay quiet for forever. Puerto Rico, some scattered movement. The big picture, though, I think is down here in South America as well, where we're seeing quite a few upper fours kick off overnight and this morning. Again, this is all pretty much a sequence of earthquakes from the Aleutian Trench, northern part of the Pacific Plate, down through the plate boundary here of the Nazca and the Cocos Plate. They haven't really seen too much activity here, but I wouldn't doubt if we start seeing some activity along the Pacific and the Nazca Plate boundary right here, where we've been watching some earthquake activity over the past week or so. But for now, kind of extending here, adjacent plate along the South America region. But just be on guard here, West Coast and these areas. Things are just kind of at the standstill right now. Pretty quiet over here along the Western Pacific. Only 2 earthquakes here, and these were from yesterday and overnight, 4.9 overnight. This one here in the Mariana Trench from yesterday. So things are pretty quiet here in this area for now. Space weather activity is kind of jumping up there a little bit. We're looking at some coronal hole activity facing us. We did have a pretty good G1 storm kick up here overnight. We did have the BZ component of the IMF, the Interplanetary Magnetic Field. Let's see here. BZ component of the IMF carried past Earth via the solar wind has tipped south, so that allowed some wind stream to pour right in. As far as solar wind goes, a minor G1 geomagnetic storm is currently in progress. That was when it kicked up. It's still somewhat elevated here over the past few hours in the KP index of the 4 range. As you can see on the Aurora Oval, things are looking pretty active up there at the higher latitudes and also the southern latitudes there. In the Antarctica region, showing quite a bit of auroras, but I wonder if they're down there watching it. I'm sure the lucky folks, I don't know if they're lucky or not because it's pretty cold, but I'm sure they're watching it. If they are, maybe not. They're probably hiding inside. I don't know. Either way, it'd be cool to check out, right? In a warmer environment, I would say. Let's see, coronal hole activity is kind of elevated. This solar wind stream will be coming at Earth here very soon. It's a gigantic one too, and stretches across a good portion of the sun. Looks like that should arrive on the 21st. This could be possibly a little bit higher event. We'll keep an eye on that. G1 class storm then. Currently still under G1 class storm for right now. Either way, things getting pretty elevated in the solar wind stream department. Solar flare activity, not so much. There's a 95% chance of a C flare. We are seeing that kind of on the low side. No M flares recently, so going to have to watch these sunspots. They look like they're decaying. They're not looking as active as they had been in the past couple days, so that's unfortunate. But maybe a couple new sunspots will develop and provide us with some possible flaring. But man, it's just dying down in the flare department. All right, guys, stay safe out there. Again, have a good day. We will chat you guys a little bit later on tonight. Of course, if anything changes out here, we will be providing updates. Stay safe out there. Have a good day.